Welcome to the Life of KG, your ultimate destination for all things motivation and business insights. Join me, Katie Godfrey, serial entrepreneur and the brains behind the KG brand. Along the way, we'll welcome inspiring guests and share invaluable business tips to fuel your growth journey. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. With that said, let's dive into the world of success together. Guys, I really need your help. My book is launching on the 14th of April. I'm so excited, but I'm also really nervous. Please can I ask you to join up for the waitlist so on the day of launch, you can help me. This book is everything you need to learn about business, how to grow it, how to scale it, how to have a team to help you build it. Everything you need is within it. Think of a whole year of coaching within a book. So go and join the waitlist, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. Hey everyone, and welcome back to A Life of KG. Today on the show, I have Karen Harvey-Conran on, which I'm so excited about. She is my friend. She's been a client of mine. She does my permanent brows, which I absolutely love. And she has a really good story. She started her career in this world a bit later on in life. So without further ado,
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
I know, welcome to the studio. I literally love it here.
It's so beautiful. It's a really, really nice space.
Yeah.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for travelling down or up, down, up. So it's more up.
Up.
So give us an intro, like who you are for those that don't know you. What do you do?
So what I do is I have my own clinic doing permanent makeup, as you know, which is in Leigh-on-Sea on the coast. So I love it there. And within the clinic, we also have other treatments as well, such as the laser. We also do permanent jewelry. We do facials, that kind of thing. So I have Nicola working for me who does those things as well in the clinic. So it's kind of an expanded up, really. So it's not just me doing the permanent makeup anymore. That's my passion. That's what I love doing. That's what I mainly do. So I just love it. I just love doing it.
And I literally loved it when I come to yours because obviously we'd worked together previously and then I was like, I need my brows done. I'm going to go to Karen. And when I walked into your clinic, I think it's just so nice when you've worked with someone and then you go and see actually your place and what there is. And I'm like, oh my God, the branding on everything was on point. And I kept saying I did. I was like, the branding, I love it.
As soon as you walked
into life, I was just like, I loved it.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
As soon as you walked in, you said that. Because the funny thing is, you actually brought your mum to get her brows. And then that was what it was. So I'd opened specially for you on a Saturday. You brought your mum to do her brows. And then while I was doing your mum's brows, you were like, do you think you could do my brows too? Because I've come all this way and I really I want mine done now. You had the FOMO, didn't you?
I really had FOMO.
And I was going into London after that and I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'll do yours too. Because then we could do the top ups at the same time. So it made much more sense than you coming back on another time.
A couple of hours away from you.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Well, it's like the reverse journey for me today.
Yes.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. But I had to have them done. But if you wasn't going to London, I'd have had my brows done, done. I would have had my lips done. I would have had my eyeliner done. I'm the worst. If I go anywhere for anything done, I'll go in for one thing and I'll come out with 10.
So, mind you, when you brought your daughter, when you brought Layla for the top up, she was like, "Oh, can I have some permanent jewelry?" She was like a little magpie. She loved it, didn't she? She loved all the girly stuff. She was like, "Can I have things?"
Stop showing me up to Karen.
She wasn't showing you up at all. She was just like, "Oh."
Yeah, she loved it. She loved it. So let's go back because you wasn't in this industry before.
No.
So tell me a bit about that and your journey because it's a completely different U-turn.
It was a completely different U-turn. So basically I've had, so I was a military child. So basically we lived in loads of different places because my dad was in the army. So I went to 14 schools. So I was always moving. And then in the end, I went to a boarding school where I did my O-levels as it was then and A-levels. But I think because of that, I've never been afraid of change or to take a risk. really, because that's what you constantly do when you move into a new place. You make new friends, you've got to start again. And so I had a few careers before. I worked as a careers advisor, and then from that I worked I was like a senior careers advisor, worked my way up, and basically I ended up being their professional development manager for Connections, Cheshire and Warrington, as it was then. So I kind of like was all over Cheshire and Warrington and like heading up all of their training. So I loved all of that. And then I decided I'd be a teacher. And because that would fit in better with the kids.
Right.
Because my kids were younger then. And so that would fit in better, because within our HR team, we were having to take it in turns to take time off in school holidays. Mm-hmm. So I was like, no, I need to do something where I can be more present for them during the holidays. So that's why I then retrained as a teacher. I did the GTP route, so I trained and worked at the same time. So I did that. So that was a complete career change. So again, my income just went because I became like a trainee, having a really good career and really good pay as a professional development manager. Exactly. And at the same time, we moved down south.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a double whammy there. So we moved down south, moved nearer my mum, because my mum was living down south, and my sister and my dad. Anyway, so we moved down, became a teacher, and I loved doing that. And then because I already had, I suppose, managerial background, and I always strive myself to do better and better. And so I soon worked up in teaching. So yeah, then I was an assistant head.
Wow.
So
I can imagine you as assistant head. I can imagine you as the head.
Well, that was actually in the time that was my aim. So it was to become a head. But then because I used to teach business and economics, because that's what my degree is. So what happened was I began to be, I didn't want to stay in the classroom, shall we just say, till I was 67. So teaching's changed a lot over the years.
Yeah.
Really, it changed a lot from when I first went into it, from when I left it. It's changed so much in terms of the bureaucracy and in terms of, all the things that come down from on high that you've got to do and things like that. So, I decided that I didn't want to stay in the classroom until I was 67, and if I became a head teacher, I'd probably die straight after retiring. That's what I've kind of thought.
Yeah.
And even my husband, he was like, it's making you grey, as in not this, but they do this as well, but it's making you grey, and it's wearing you out. So because it is constant, people don't realise that. And having your own business is also constant. So there's so many similarities in terms of that. But yeah, what happened was I was thinking of setting my own business up, but couldn't decide what I wanted to do to set my own business up. And all my students would say, oh, Miss, when are you going to set your own business up? And my daughters would say, oh, Mum, yeah, you need to do your own business. You really want to do it, so you need to do it. So anyway, so I went ahead and my eyeliner done. And I didn't even know it was a real thing. So it hadn't really come onto my radar. Somebody at school had theirs done. So I was like, oh my God, that's going to change my mornings. That's what I need to have done. So I researched it, went to have my eyeliner done. And then after I had that done, I was like, I could actually do that. I think I would really enjoy doing that. Because when I was a student, I used to do makeup. Liglo was the company. I don't know if you remember that. It was one of those party ones, where you do all the training. You have this. I love makeup. You see, so you had this box that had all the different colours in, and I used to go and give people facials and makeup. And back in the day, and we're talking in the late 80s, I could take 80 quid a night doing it. So it was that and barmaid. That's how I saw myself through uni.
Yeah.
And I love doing that. So basically, it was kind of like, oh, do you know what? I quite like the idea of doing that. So, but then I researched it for a few years to think, oh, it's a really big change. I'm in a secure career. Do you know what I mean? It's like the pension, the money, the salary and things like that. And to go into the unknown. So, but then it was one Easter holidays. It was really, really hot weather, and I was sat in my garden, and there was an old shed at the bottom of the garden, and I was like, I could knock that down and build a clinic. And I went back into work after that Easter holidays, the beginning of the May, and end of May, beginning of June, it would have been. And I handed in my notice. basically.
Wow.
So I gave them a whole, it was April. So it would have been when I went back in the April. So they had a whole term to like find my replacement, basically. So, because they had to find 2 replacements for the teaching side and also the leadership side. So yeah, and I just thought, I'm just going to do it. I'm literally just going to do it. If I do it half-hearted, I might never do it, probably, because the thing is with teaching, it's so full on that I didn't think I would give it the time that I needed to do. So I thought, you know what? No. Take a risk.
It's great. And has it paid off?
Yeah, it's paid off. But it's taken a lot of work. Yeah. But it's completely paid, and I love it. I love the freedom. At the time, one of the other big considerations for me as well was actually spending more time with my mum, because she was beginning to need lots of like hospital trips. She didn't like driving very much. So I would take her to the hospital. I would take her for a haircut. I would take her for her treatments and things like that. So being able to actually do those things when you're teaching, you can't do those things because you don't have that flexibility in your time and your timetable. So I just thought, you know what, it's going to give me more flexibility as well. So that was another big thing. And do you know what, the funny thing is, when I told my mom that I was going to do this, she was really behind me, because I really thought she'd say, silly bugger, don't do that. Look what you're going to have to give up. She didn't. She just said, Karen, if that's what you want to do, life's too short, just do it.
Wow.
And so I just did it. And I'm so glad I did, because I did get to spend more time with Mum, because unfortunately she passed away last year. So it was really, but so I'm glad I did it.
Oh, bless her. So proud of you.
Yeah. So I'm glad I made that move, basically, and that change over to do it. So then that's what I did. I cashed in my ISA. Yeah, I cashed in all my savings to pay for my training, which I did with Karen Betts and KB Pro.
Which you know is not cheap.
No, that was back in those days. I paid 15 grand for my training.
Wow.
For doing eyes, lips and brows. And then I cashed in my ISA to pay for the building of my clinic, which was 20 grand. So basically I like went from a position where I was in a really good career with savings to having like... No, having to start all over again with no savings. It was like really scary time. And then COVID hit.
Oh my God, just to chuck that in the mix.
Yeah, wow. Took you over the edge. So I started my training in 2019. So I started it. I did the first initial days, actually. I took unpaid leave from teaching. My head gave me time to do that. And then so I started it before I left. And then it's more of a mentorship approach when you do it. I used to do it before in KB Pro, which is what I do now with my training as well, rather than just go for 4 days and that's it. So I did that. So I did the remaining days in August. Then I had to do all my case studies and things like that. And then it was the following March 2020, wasn't it?
Yes.
When we all got shut down. And I was like, brilliant, I'm just getting going. I'm just getting going. I just got to stop.
Well, the rest that you needed before everything got super busy. And wasn't that the time as well where you got to spend time with Mum?
Yes, I did, because she was she had some spells in hospital and things like that. Yeah, she had some toes amputated, so there was all of that stuff going on as well. I got to spend lots of time with Mum. But also, do you know what? The big thing was it was really scary having obviously COVID and not working, having no income coming in. That was really, really scary. When you're used to having a good income coming in, because wherever I'd worked, I'd always worked up so that I had, a good income, because I'd always worked up the ranks, if you like. And so to suddenly be in a position where I didn't, that actually really affected me and really affected my mental health a little bit at the time, because my girls will tell you this, because I was just like, who am I now? I don't actually have a career anymore. You know what I mean? I've had to kind of like stop for a little while. But then it was like, no, failure's not an option. So you've got, because some people say, why don't you just go back into teaching? And I was like, no. I've already spent all this money. I've invested. I'm going to make this work. And that was basically what I'd used as my mindset, make it work. And during the COVID, I don't know if you found this, but the industry was so good, because so many people who've been in the industry a long time put on free courses. They put on to keep us all motivated. There was things that went on, like challenges and stuff that you would do on Instagram, on Facebook and things like that. So I just literally got involved in everything. And that kept my mind going. And then one of the early things, I did loads of some online training and stuff on social media and things like that. And one of the early things was like, just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. Yeah. Even if you don't always feel like it, just keep showing up. And because I used to teach business, so during the recessions in the past, this is how Apple overtook all their competitors, because when there was recessions, Apple didn't give up training, didn't give up showing up, didn't give up on their marketing, advertising or anything like that. They kept putting their budget into that. And so, you just think that's how you make yourself a brand, is you just don't give up, do you? Yeah, no, never give up. And the consistency, the word gets boring, but it's like you have to be so consistent on everything and keep showing up. And I think you're a huge testament to the fact of, you've got to take the risk. And if you keep going with that, the only way is to succeed. And also it doesn't matter what age you are either, because I think there's so many people out there that are like, I have to start my career when I'm young and then carry on until I retire. Or some people are so unhappy in their day to day and wish for that change. And it's like, it's not too late. Why don't you change? Yeah. It's never too late. It's never too late. And hopefully I'm testament to that. And to other people coming through is that it's never too late, because, if you think about it, you've still got, when do we retire now? 70 now. Yeah, it'd be 70 for you, 67 for me. So yeah, but that's years. It's years to be doing something. And you want to be doing something you love, so that it genuinely is. My clients say this to me, you love your job, don't you? Because I do love it. So when I go in, and every client, they become almost like your friend. You're like a therapist. Mm-hmm. You just, you have such good conversations. I find out about all the new Netflix things to watch, and we just have a good old conflab basically, and talk about your spouses, your kids, their jobs, and all those things, and they sort of tell me so many things, and it's like, and you don't pass it on to anyone else. It's just a nice little them time as well. So it's just really nice. Yeah, definitely. When you studied business so you studied it and then taught it, has that helped you in your business life, have actually owning a business, or is it very different owning a business to when you're studying it? It has helped. It does help, because you do, like I used to teach about marketing and teach about things like that, teach about break even, teach about revenue and all those sorts of things. So all that basic stuff. And I did teach it, and like I say about Apple, and you look at big companies and how they're successful, and you look at what they do, but it still doesn't prepare you for owning your own business, because owning your own business is totally different. Well, it's not totally different, but there is similarities there, but there's so much more involved in owning your own. Even I underestimated that, having been a business teacher still. I underestimated how much would be involved in setting up my own business. And when you look at something theoretically, until you're actually doing it on the ground, that actually changes a lot as well. Yeah. It gives a different perspective to it. When you're actually doing it, you're actually having to, the reason why you've got to do it. So the reason why you do your socials, theoretically you've got to do that because that's what builds your brand and all the rest of it. But actually the slog of doing it all is nothing prepares you for that whole slog with doing it. The knowledge, the fact that you've got to do it and you need to build a brand, those things did help me from the beginning, because I knew I needed to build a brand from the beginning, and that's what I really wanted to do. So one of the first things I also invested in was getting my logo as the start of my building my brand. So when I first set up, my husband, who works in digital marketing, he actually did me a brochure, and he actually did me like a little logo type thing. But it was kind of like, no, I need something really professional. So, I did go to a really good company who are local to me, North South Design. They're just so good. And I've worked with them consistently throughout. So, they designed my shop from just keeping it all on brand, like you say, when you go into my clinic, it's all that. And so I knew that was something good for my business training before, is that build that brand from the beginning, and keep that running. And I also invested in working with some marketing people as well, like just people locally who had set up their own businesses doing marketing, and just had a few sort of like one-to-ones with those, just to get like thinking about what I needed to do. So yeah, because that the big thing as well that you learn as you go through is that it's good to get help.
Yeah.
It's good to get support, because I'm not an expert in everything, and you can't be an expert in everything. And I want to be an expert in permanent makeup. And do you know what I mean? Or, and now, you know, students helping them build their permanent makeup businesses. But I'm not an expert in the marketing. I'm not an expert in my website. I'm not an expert in other things. And I think it's, and help people like you who've done it and who've built and can help you grow.
Yeah.
And that has been a massive thing as well. And that was a light bulb moment when I had my VIP day with you, didn't I?
I know, we loved it.
Yeah.
So good.
Over a year ago, and you came down to the Roslyn, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you came down to my neck of the woods, and that was such a good day. And I found you through socials, through Jenna, actually, through someone mutual we knew.
Yeah.
She'd met you at something, and so then you were popping up then on my feed. Then I was watching you on my feed, and then I was like, I need this woman. I need to look at everything I'm doing and what do I need to do next, like that type thing. And that's what that was, and that's why I booked that. And that's the first proper mentoring that I'd ever booked and invested in, because it is the mindset, isn't it? You've got to realize that it's about investing, and you're actually investing in yourself and the business. It's not about how much it's going to cost you,
which I think is what people find difficult, because I think when we invest in doing our clinic sub or taking that training course that's going to teach us a treatment, we're not really thinking it's us, even though it is.
Yeah.
But then when you're focusing on, you know, more knowledge for yourself, that coach, that VIP day, it's like, I'm spending all this money on me. It's like a different mindset.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that is what's going to help your business, because what's the point investing $15,000 on machinery or a new technique if you don't know how to promote it or, you know, upskill even more?
That's it.
Which obviously you've done, which is amazing. And we had such a good day on our VIP day.
We did.
And even just watching your journey over the last year has been incredible. And then you come to Marrakesh on my retreat.
I came on your retreat. It's the first ever business retreat I've ever been on. And again, that was like, oh my God, you're going to spend this money and go. And you say that to people, and I'm going to Marrakesh for a business retreat. Oh yeah, business retreat. You mean a holiday? I was like, no, actually, it's not. It's about the business, and it's about investing. If I'm investing in me doing that, I'm investing in the business and making the business grow, making the business better. And so, and that was brilliant. And so, I'm coming again in June.
Yes,
to Marbella.
I've never been
to Marbella.
That was good. You wait till you come to Marbella.
I've never been to Marbs before, so there you go.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really, really good. You're going to love that. I need to tell you about our lash and brow growth serum. If you're not retailing this within your business yet, this is a no-brainer. The profit margins are amazing, but your clients are going to be so happy with the results because they are insane. I've been working on this product for the last 10 years because I wasn't going to bring out this unless it was the best. So you can go and head over to kgprofessional.com, go and grab yours for only £14 and you retail it at £34. Go and get yours now. Yeah, I love a retreat. We're literally just about to go to Marrakesh again this month, which is going to be amazing. And then Marbella. And then I'm already planning 2026 retreats. And I'm like, oh my God, we've only just hit 25. I was like, can I book my 2026 retreat? And I'm like, oh my God, get the location set quick.
Well, you have to, though. You have to get the days in and things like that, don't you? Because your diary gets so filled up, doesn't it? That's the thing when you work in business, is that people think, oh, you've got all lots of flexibility and stuff like that. Actually, no. As Nicola, who looks at my diary a lot, would say, you know, I have to plan it out way in advance. I book my holidays in, because that's one of the things I wanted as well, was be able to. We're teaching you very restricted to when you go on holiday. You don't go on holiday obviously when the kids are on holiday, and that's more expensive then, which everybody knows. But I wanted to be able to go away when my husband does business trips, so be able to go away with him on those and things like that. So it's just having that freedom.
Yeah,
of being able to do things, but you do have to. The diary is a military operation to fit things in.
Yeah, I am literally. I'd schedule like a whole year up front every time, and so like when someone talks about a holiday or a trip or should we go for dinner or anything, basically I'm like, oh yeah, I'm already booked up till like April, May. They're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's like a real thing. Like, yeah, diary management is like one of the key things I do all the time, and I'm really like particular about it. my diary has to be right.
Well, it does. My friends say that. They're like, oh, we have to show Karen can do it. Because they know, like, getting things in the diary is, like, really hard.
Yeah, I know.
If you pre-plan it, it's not hard. But it's always got to be the pre-planning.
Yeah, I'm structured. Like, literally, you'd think I'm in the army. So I'm structured with everything in life. How did you find building up a client base? Like, how was that journey for you? Because really, you're really fresh still in business. I mean, we think you've been around for years because you're so bloody good at it, but you're still fresh.
Yeah. To be honest, what it was with the whole thing with not always showing up when I was during COVID. So COVID actually was a really bad time, but it actually did me a lot of favors as well, because it gave me some time. And like I say, with all the, the help that was around PMU Circle, Ilana Jessica was really good. There's lots of different people in the industry who really gave a lot back to help people. And people started to set up their own courses online because they could see that was the way forward. So, I would, enroll in those, at a cheap rate then, because they were just looking for people for feedback, as long as, to give reviews and things like that. So I just took advantage of all those things. And what that taught me was about, with the whole showing up, was trying to build myself a waiting list. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did. So basically I came out of COVID with a waiting list of like over 80.
Wow.
So that took care of the first few months, basically, of booking them all in. The nightmare was when we were supposed to come out the first time and we didn't.
Oh my God.
And I had to rebook them all, and that's when I nearly lost my shit.
Yeah, it was.
Literally, honest to God, that day when they said, didn't they? And it was so. I always remember it because it was a really hot day. It was summer, and my friend saw it. So one of my besties, who's a teacher, she saw it and she phoned me up straight away. She said, "Oh, Karen," she says, "I'm coming round. I don't care. I'm coming round." And she came round, and we ended up opening the Seki. We got takeaway, and we just got trolleyed because it was just like so depressing. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to have to also rearrange all these people, and I'm still not going to be able to earn any money. And it was just, I remember it being so depressing, and she knew how devastated I would be. So she was like, I'm coming round. Thanks, Laura. And yeah, it was just like, it was needed. It was needed because it was like, then her husband came along later with the kids. We ended up staying on again, like I say, you got takeaway and stuff like that. So yeah, because that was dire.
I feel love-hate relationship with COVID, because like you said, I was one of the ones that was constantly like doing courses. I was on the news nearly every week. Like I was doing all the things for the industry, and it was hard work, but I loved it, like absolutely loved it. Everyone just come together like a massive family then.
Yeah.
And loads of my clients that I met in COVID, like as in my coaching clients, like are still with me now. Yeah. Like it's lovely. But it was a really nice time. But when we was like in and out of being open, and it was no face treatments. So I remember we went back for nails, and I was like, nails ain't gonna do nothing. I was like, I need my face treatments back. And I just had we had to do the whole separation as well. So we've got 4 nail bars, and we couldn't have someone in between. So I could only have 2 nail techs on, but no face treatments. But our face treatments is where our money earns. Our nails are our bread and butter money.
Yeah.
And then I remember we booked in all of the face treatments, and the diary was packed with like love and life. And then literally like feels like the Friday of someone was meant to start the face treatments on the Saturday, and the news come out, and I just went into the salon and I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. I was like, oh, and then it happened again just before Christmas week, wasn't it? Yeah. Busy at Christmas, and all of a sudden
didn't we just open for a month? They let us open up for a month, didn't they? And then we all shut down again. I remember it. Just weeping. Yeah, they couldn't open. It was just awful.
And then I remember when we could officially properly open, and it was like the last time. And I come down with COVID really badly a day before we was meant to open. Yeah. I mean, I don't do the treatments anyway, but obviously I wanted to go there and like be with the team, like see the clients, do all the things. I had new staff members starting, so they all needed to be prepped.
My days.
And I couldn't go in. I was like, sorry, team.
It's just you.
I'm there in spirit, I promise.
But it did wreck you. COVID did wreck you. So
Oh God,
it really did. But from that list, that got me started. But other things that did help at the time was I went to networking groups. So because I hadn't been in the beauty industry at all, so it was all about how do I find my clients, because I don't have a beauty background. So sometimes when people have gone into it and they did nails or they did lashes, they've got a ready, steady sort of like to go clientele there. But I didn't have that because I didn't have a beauty background at all. So what really worked well for me is networking groups. And I just went to loads of networking groups locally, like women's networking groups. And a lot of my first clients came from those.
Really? I think that's really, really good that you've mentioned that, actually, because I think so many people steer away from the networking because obviously we're shy or we find it intimidating or we do think it's going to be loads of men in suits. And like I said, there's so many women ones now.
There's women ones now, and that's why I went to. I went to a women's one, a few women's ones actually, in the area, and they were and people in this industry and in services, people buy you, don't they? So in beauty treatments, in permanent makeup, people buy you. And so what I found was, an example, one client, and she came to me when a few times after seeing me at the networking meeting, and I said to her, "Oh, but have you looked at any of my work?" She says, "No." She says, "I just trust you." And that was it. She's still a client now. She still comes back annually for her colour boost. And it is that. It's you build that trust. So when you go to these networking meetings, people can see you and then they can see if they gel with you or not. Because not everybody gels with everybody, you know.
No.
And so they can see and they can and I'm a people person. So I love being around people. So I love chatting to people and things like that. So I think that's a top tip I would say to people starting out. Go to networking groups, because then you get your face known and you will get those first clients from there. Them and all my friends, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
But definitely networking groups, without a doubt, was something. I also went around. I also put leaflets in like local little cafes and things like that when you could. Then obviously during COVID they all got taken out because you couldn't have things like that, could you? But that's what I also initially did at the beginning as well, as I actually did the whole putting leaflets out into cafes and stuff. I even bought the plastic stands to put them in because I wanted them to look nice. I didn't want them to just be a pile on the desk.
No,
I wanted them to look nice. And that was my very first leaflets that my husband had made for me that I then got printed on sort of like Vista. Now they look a lot more sophisticated, but back then that did the trick. Just to get started, it doesn't have to be perfect, does it?
No, and I think people forget the actual business ways of building up an audience and a clientele, and now just assume we have to do Instagram and we're putting all our eggs in that basket, which I always say don't do. And it's so true, because even like we've been open, it'll be nearly 16 years, bloody hell, the salon, and I didn't have one client when we opened up that place. I wasn't that person that, worked from home or worked at another salon previously. Like my first client was in my first salon, and I didn't have anyone.
Didn't you used to sit there waiting for people to come? There was nobody.
Honestly, my dad used to come into the salon to keep.
Remember you telling me that? Yeah.
And I've got to tell you, you might have heard it. I've wrote it on Instagram before. I might have said it on the podcast, but I remember my dad literally used to come in or just pop in every now and then just to keep me sane after he'd finished work, and stayed for me for half an hour, and then he'd go off home, and I'd feel really lonely after he left. But I was really particular of my opening hours are my opening hours. You won't come past my salon, even now, ever, and it'd be closed outside the opening hours. That would have just been a massive pet hate for mine. But also, I needed the business. So if someone come in at 6:30 and we're closing at 7, I'd be so grateful that that person walked in. But there was this time when the clocks went back or forward. Dyslexia doesn't work for me on that. And I didn't change the clock in the salon. So my dad come in, visited me, had a chat. I was like, went to go, and I went to get my coat on as well. And I was like, okay, he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm coming home. And he was like, still got an hour yet? And I looked at the clock and I haven't changed the clock. And I was like, oh my God. But Karen, honestly, being there from 10 till 7 without one single client, that extra hour felt like forever. And I just wanted to cry my eyes out because I don't know how long I can keep doing this. Like, these days are so long. I'd never close early. But back then I would do the networking meetings, and they were then no women meetings 16 years ago. They were
all men.
And you'd get the odd women, and I hated them, but I'd done it because they would go home and tell their wives.
Well, I was going to say that makes it difficult otherwise, doesn't it?
So it did make it different, whereas networking's so different now. But then also with the leaflets, I would go out and leaflet the streets myself, like, all the time. Like, if there was quiet times, I'd be like, right, need to go out and leaflet on Sunday, then let's go out and do that. Obviously the leaflets in the shops and stuff, but these marketing tools still need to be used today, and people forget about them. Like, marketing, the leafleting's gold. Okay, even back then you might have had all the junk letters that come through, the newspaper, the yellow pages back then, all those things. Whereas now, if you leaflet, when do you open up your door and there's a salon or a clinic on your floor in someone's home? Not hardly ever. So if you're doing that, you're in all them people's homes.
Yeah. So it's a good. I haven't done it for a while, actually. But you do move into other things too, don't you? Like the email marketing and things like that. And getting that going, and that's a really good way of reaching people. And that's a good way of reaching people who you get some Facebook ads and you get their details, and then you can use email marketing then to keep targeting them, to send them out newsletters, and as long as they want to, they can unsubscribe anytime. But it's funny because you get people then who have been watching you for, I find this with clients, they say to me, I've been watching you for like a year, and now I feel confident to come and have a treatment done.
Yeah, they need warming up.
And they need to constantly be seeing you to know that's now what they're going to do. But building that client list, going back to that, is you've just got to be resilient with it. It's you've got to keep slogging away, but being tactical, like we said, the leaflets, the networking groups, they worked amazing for me. Never put your prices cheap. Always just put an offer. That's what I was always taught. So that's what I did, and that's how I built up that list in COVID, was by doing that, by putting out an offer. Yeah. So, if they booked now and paid their booking fee, which gave me a bit of money, then they could have like £75 off or something like that, So that's how I built up that list. So it was doing offers, not putting my price low. It was doing, this is my price, but I'm going to do it at this price. Yeah. So it's an offer as opposed to going in on a low price point. Because I didn't want to, I knew that was the other thing I knew from doing my business, is so I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be seen as a discount place.
No, and it just
or
attracts the wrong
type.
people,
It does, totally the wrong client. Oh my God, yeah.
And
Totally
the most difficult clients.
You the ones who have a discount.
Yeah, I'll be full because I'm cheap. But then them clients are so difficult to deal with. Like, whereas when you have the higher price clients, they're so much more easier to work with.
And they it's like when I went to get my eyeliner, I didn't even ask the price at first, because I was like, I knew I wanted to get it done. I found out who I wanted to go to. I didn't even ask the price for it. Yeah. So, and that's what you find, is that the people who want to come to you will come to you. They will find you. Obviously, you are cheaper in the beginning because you're learning and you're inexperienced and stuff like that. But then as you get more experience, it's just about knowing your worth more, isn't it? And you don't have to justify why you're charging that price. You charge that price because there's so much going into it. There's so much training that you've done. There's so much, your overheads as well. All those, there's so much more going into it. Your experience, all of that goes into it. Yeah, so that's sort of paramount, really, to take into account with it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear that goes around the pricing, isn't there? Like, they're scared to put their pricing up or charge what they really want because so and so down the road does this, and it's like you do just have to like trust what you're worth and remember everything that you put into the business.
Pay cheap, pay twice. That's what we always say, because I do a lot of laser tattoo removal.
So you see it all the time.
I see a lot of that, where people pay cheap and they're now paying twice. Well, they're paying more than twice because they're paying for removal and then they're paying for it again.
It's funny you say that, because over Christmas we were full, And there was lots of younger clientele and people with the mums that pay for the daughters to get nails done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then in January, we had so many people that were having soak-offs. And I was like, they're all paying extra high for soak-offs because they're not done by us.
Yeah.
We charge more for a removal that's not done by us.
Of course.
We don't know what we're removing. And I was like, why are they coming to us paying this amount, which is a lot because we don't actually want them, and they haven't even got their nails done, but also we get the shit job. We've got to take them off and send them out the door.
Yeah.
So I was in the salon one of the days. I took the kids in because I felt I was getting my lashes done or something, and there was loads of removals. And I sat there and I started talking to all the mums. I was like, how come you're coming here for the removal then and not where you got them done? And they were telling me all these horror stories about where they were getting their nails done and this and that. So I was like, okay, so why did you choose to go there before choosing to come to us? And all of it was down to price.
Yeah.
And I said, pay twice.
Yeah.
Like, we know now what we're coming here.
Well, people don't even think of that, do they? I mean, if they don't think about that for nails, you know, that's like, you just think, oh, nails is nails, but it's not. Everyone does it so differently.
Yeah. Well,
totally different.
And where they've got holes in their nails and all sorts. And I'm
probably
like,
burned down to the wick.
God.
You don't know what people are using as well, do you?
No, you don't. And it all comes down to like the educational piece, right? We're always having to educate our clients because they don't always know the do's and don'ts. Which also you've gone into training now and into education. Yeah. So what was your reason for going into education?
Well, because I've always loved teaching.
You're a natural teacher.
I just love teaching all the time. So to be honest, when I started doing this, it was always my intention in the back of my mind was I would teach it. So from when I did it, and that's why I went and became a trainer with KB Pro was afterwards, because I wanted to do the training, and I thought, and that way also was a way of working with a team, which I missed. So there was that aspect of it as well. And after COVID, it was that little bit of stability. If you've got those few days work a month as well, you know, you've got that going on. So they're all reasons as well. But I just love training. I just love teaching. I love teaching. I love teaching when I did teaching. And I used to love, when I was the professional development manager, I delivered a lot of training, and that was to adults in multi-agency. So careers advisors, youth workers, social workers, loads of training in that, in those fields. And I just love it. I just love training people and seeing that light bulb moment that you get when they get it. I just love it. So it's nice to be able to do that and show other people how to do it and how they can make a living from it as well. Yeah. So not just teach them the skills, but the actual skills, but try and teach them the business skills as well, so they can get up and running.
Yeah, and I love how you've structured your courses and your reasoning for doing that. Do you want to go into that?
So that's about, it's about more of a mentoring approach, because you can go and do a course that's like, say, I mean, some people do courses for 2-3 days and they're just not long enough, but you do a course for 4 days, it's all concentrated. When I did my training myself, it was broken up, and I liked that aspect of it. So you do, instead of having, so you do online, so there's online stuff that they've got to do, the basics, the hygiene and all those things. They need to know all those before they come. But then what I do is I get them to come in, and then I teach them how to use the machine. So they get a kit, it's quite exciting. They get a kit, or they get some of their kit, and then they get the machine and they get some practice pigments, and I show them how to do it, and I show them the basics of how to do it. And then what I do is I send them away, and they then have 4 weeks of homework, basically. So they have to every week send me a set of 10 brows they've done on mats. So I've given them all this material. So they basically have to, it's them practicing using the machine and shading. They can video it and send it to me as well, but they need to send me those so I can have a look at them, have a look at their pressure, have a look at what it looks like, and basically just give them a bit of feedback. But I also get them to have a go at mapping, because mapping is the really difficult thing when you're starting off in permanent makeup. The mapping. So I get them to map. So they have to map. They can grab their kids, their husband. They just need to map 2 people a week and send me pictures. And I give them feedback. And I find then, so when they come back then after a month they then come back to me for 3 days, then they are so much more well, they're engaged in it anyway, but because they've paid for it, but they're so much more engaged because they've been using it, and they pick it up better because they're faster. Because they've already been practicing at home for 4 weeks. They've actually held the machine. So it's not just the first time they've held the machine when they come in. So they've held the machine and things like that. So it's just more of a mentoring approach, basically, so that they can then be up and running faster.
Yeah, which I think is so important, because I hear all the time, actually, that people have invested in the permanent makeup, microblading, and then they're too scared to do clients after.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, I've invested all this and I'm too scared to do it.
Yeah.
So, or they're like, I don't like doing it. I'm like, do you not like doing it, or you're not confident in it? So it's like that longer approach with them is going to be really helpful. Because
a lot of people, there is some just loads of really good trainers out there, but there are some that aren't so good out there who they ghost people. You hear these stories all the time. So they don't give the trainees, the students, the confidence that you just said that they need to be able to do this job themselves, or access to be able to then message to say, or voice note to say, can you just help me with this? Those sorts of things. So the ongoing support is also so important. Yeah. And then they have to then do case studies. So they don't, because my course is accredited, so they don't then just get a certificate for attending. They have to, they get a certificate for attending, but they have to then go away and they have to do me 6 case studies. And they have to show me them actually working on real people and all the pictures. And they have to show me 3 of those need to be top-ups as well. So they have to get them back after 6 weeks so I can see how they've healed and it gives them the chance to see then the process and ask questions to see what they used to do. Then they'll come in for a proper assessment day, which they can bring their own model, and then I will assess them and then accredit them.
Amazing.
So it's quite a thorough sort of like system, and I do it on maximum of 2 students to me.
Really?
Yeah. So
we've got that one-on-one time there.
Yeah. So one-on-one, 1 and 2. It literally, and it's just me. It's not somebody else. It's not another, someone who's not as experienced training with them, in a bigger group. It's just me. So there's a consistency. Because one of the things I found is, I love my training was very thorough, but I did have different trainers. And when you have different trainers, people have different points of view. It's like anything, isn't it?
All the time, yeah.
So, and you also there was a head office you could email in and they would help you. But you can get conflicting views. Whereas I think when you have it like one particular person, that's why I was passionate about doing that, so that I could just deliver that one consistent message, training, experience, expertise to the person, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely. That's so exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Also, if someone wants to get in touch for training or for treatment, where should they go?
So they can go to my website. It has booking, and it has an academy page on there. So they can go there. They can DM me on my Instagram, on my Facebook, so that they can get in touch those ways. So through my website, which is my name. Yeah, but you put all that in the links anyway, don't you?
I'll put it all in the show.
Yeah, but they can do all of those things. So
and what I do love about your page as well is obviously talking about branding. You said that your first thing was like your logo and stuff, but you've always been so good on like your personal branding and doing your face cams and stuff like that. So I always remember that when we first started connecting, I was like, she's always doing face to cams. It's so good. But it just builds that trust up, doesn't it? So like people can warm up to you.
Yeah, because they say that. So it's really funny you should say that, because clients come in and they're like, they never like my posts. Do you know what I mean? I don't know they've seen my posts, but it's really funny because I would say to people, don't get disheartened by that. If people don't like your post, don't get disheartened by it, because they're still watching.
Yes.
They are still watching. Yeah. Because I get clients coming to me that, oh, so you went to Nashville. Oh, how was that? And I'm like, how do you know I went to Nashville? It's because they watched my stories. They watched my post. And so it's things like that. So they are always watching, and clients always say that to me. And also I have clients who they come in. I had one recently, actually, it was a brand new client. And I always make a point of asking my clients how they found me. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, I've been watching you. I've been watching you for, I think she said for about 8 months or something. She said, I've been watching you. She said, and I feel like I know you already. She says, because I always see you, so I just feel like I know you, so I felt I could trust you. And that is something people do say. They say that they feel like they know me already.
Yeah, it's so true. But when you are doing that face to cam piece and you're just being you and natural, like you do just warm up to that person. Like, and to my clients, my business clients, so many of them do say, I'm working so much on socials and it's just crickets. Like, what am I doing wrong? What's the point? And I'm like, no, like that doesn't matter. Like the likes, the comments, like all the vanity metrics don't matter. No. They are watching. Look at the insights to see how many people are actually watching, viewing and all of that stuff, rather than how many likes and stuff. Because we all wish, right, when you scroll past your stuff, everyone likes and comments, but they don't.
They don't. And even people you know, like your friends and things, never even remember or think to do that either. In fact, I was having a conversation with a friend recently. We went out for Christmas drinks and she was asking me about it. I was explaining about it. I was explaining how Insta, the metrics, the way it works, the how Meta works is that they like to see these likes and things like that. And she's like, I never realized that before. I'm going to start making sure I like it. And I always say that to clients who come in who obviously been watching things and they know what I've done. They know things I've done. And I'm like, can you just give it a little heart?
Yeah.
Can you just give it a little heart? I said, you don't have to. Just give it a little heart. That would be so lovely. You could do that. But it's the same with the followers. Because something I learned in COVID when I was doing one of the courses that I was learning was about how Meta only show your stuff to about, with the algorithms, to about 10% of people.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of fake followers or you have a lot of followers on there who aren't actually your clients, then they might never even see you.
No.
That's the other thing. So I say that to people when they're started. Don't get hung up on like how many followers you've got, because if you only had 1,000 followers, but they were all genuine followers in your local area, that's actually bigger than somebody who's got tens of thousands, and most of them are actually somewhere else. So it's all relative to what you do. So if your target audience is in your local area, they're the followers you need, and it doesn't matter if they're not reaching the like 10,000s or even the thousands. If they're all the right following, then that's your ideal client. Then that's fine. That was all of it. Yeah,
ideal client all the time.
Yeah.
So why are we trying to reach like far and wide? Like, well, I built all of my company on local. Don't need everyone else.
No, it's only when you start doing things that you're doing where you get bigger and you catching the net wider, aren't you? But no, you don't need to do that when you're first starting out and you're trying to get settled. It's the local area that you need, because people, it's like now, I do have people who travel to me from London and from Birmingham and things, but on the whole, most people will go local for beauty treatments. They, you know what I mean? So you build trust with. I had to have a funny one because I did somebody's husband's brows and he loves them. And so the lady came to me for her LVL lash lift.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from Hackney. Really? I was like, I can understand you for permanent makeup, but I remember laughing to her and I said, you know what? I said, you will find someone a lot more local for an LVL lash lift, but I trust you. And so she came all the way. Yeah, it was so nice. But I always it tickled me. But trust is a big thing. So it is about people trusting you, isn't it? And that's why showing up is important, because then people see you. Yeah. And I think that's. And I have a one take rule as well. So I don't redo stuff. I don't use filters.
No.
I am what I am. I don't use filters, and literally I do one take. So I put my camera into my stand and I switch it on, or I just hold it and I just switch it on and I just do one take of whatever I'm doing, and that'll do. But I think people like that because it's a bit more genuine, isn't it?
You need to be genuine and real. And I think there's just so much fake stuff out on socials that I think it stands out a mile away when someone is being fake, not real, whatnot. So when someone is being genuine and they can see all of that, and if when you mess up a line, you're like, oh, bloody hell, like, or whatever that might be, I do it all the time. People are like, okay, someone real. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's it with, I mean, I'm not a big one for the filters either, because I think they make you look a bit weird.
Yeah. I on the last podcast that we shot, I did say about that though, because I was like, there's filters as in catfishing, and then there's sometimes if you're not comfortable with being on camera, and I'm like, come on, you need to do more face to cam. If it makes you be that little bit more confident to show up, so be it for me.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Oh, yeah. I can't feel comfortable with them, though. I think I look weird. Sometimes I think I look weird.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's
It's kind of like those ones they put you some extra lashes on and things like that. And I remember doing one like that because I did do some of those in the early days. And then when you move around a bit like I do, because I'm a bit of a fidget, it's that the lashes end up, you've got lashes coming out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was seeing that before, and I'm like, no. Well, Lola's got a phone now, and she keeps on taking photos. And I caught her with a filter app the other day, and I was like, no, none of that. We're not starting any of that. You're beautiful as you are. Like ingrain that in her now. I was like, you don't need all these filters. Didn't even look like her.
That's the thing, isn't it? And I can't seem to do filters that actually look like me. They just made me look a bit weird. I like the fun ones though that you can do. I've done those, you know, like with the kids and stuff like that. You can get on, put bunny faces on and things like that. But yeah,
it's fun.
They are. I mean, they're good. And like you say, if I remember having a Zoom with somebody, and she was the trainer from Permanent Makeup, and I was like, God, you look so perfect. How can you look so perfect at this time of night? And she switched the filter off. I didn't even think about filter on a Zoom.
Didn't even know I had a filter on a Zoom.
Honest to God. She switched the filter off, and then she was just like, no, this is me really. She had no makeup on, a few spots. And I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
So there's a filter you need. Because you don't literally edge. It means I don't have to bother with my makeup and things like that. I can just, it's just done.
Just jump on.
And I was like, wow. And I get to, yeah, really, I'm only 30.
Everyone is beautiful, but whatever makes you feel better.
It's what makes you feel confident. That's the thing, isn't it? It's what makes you feel confident, because it's not everyone's cup of tea, and everyone each to their own. Because some people, they get their clients by being they're a different kind of person, and they're going to attract a different kind of client. So as long as you're doing what's genuine to you and what works for you, and that you feel comfortable with it, I think that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Don't try and be too false or to do something that takes you too far out of your comfort zone, because you won't like it.
No, definitely. I think as well, when you go to, I always think this, like, don't you? Like, if you go to events, or, you know, you go on a podcast, or you go somewhere, or you meet people in real life, if you don't look anything like the filter, they're going to be like...
That's the catfishing.
Hello? You don't look this online.
That's like dating.
Oh, God, I've had those horror stories.
Oh, no, I've heard those stories too. But yeah, it's like that. But that actually reminds me of one of the things about... being when you're growing as well, or about how you grow your brand and all those things. It's also about showing up in events and stuff as well. So being on the forums and and going to events, they all really help, because they get your face out there, and you learn so much from going to them as well. So that is a really big thing. And I found as well, I know it's controversial, is the whole applying for awards and things like that, but I've done that from the beginning, and I have a wall of awards now.
Yeah, I love it.
More reputable places though. They're not ropey ones. But my clients love it, actually, because they love it, because they come in and they're like, yeah, I like this. And they actually say to me, and they go, oh, I see you won another award. Well done. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know I'm in safe hands with you. And it does actually. It is a little bit of a trust building thing. It is with clients. So it does work, especially when you're growing. It really works entering some of the better awards, not ones that cost you an arm.
Yeah, exactly. Just do your research on them. But God, awards changed the game for us as well. Like, and it is a massive trust factor. It stands you out from other competitors that there might be. Like, I think they're great.
Yeah, they really help build you, and they really do help build your brand as well. And I was pleased, because I got I came third nationally for social media last year. Yeah, for my branding.
Oh, I love that.
For branding.
She should be third. She should be number one.
I know, I should have been number one. For branding. I know, complain. 80s, I should be number one. Yeah, so that was good. That was good for Leslie, who judged on my branding as well. So yeah, that was really nice. But it's nice to do the awards, because they do help in build your following and your clientele as well. Yeah, so that's really good. And I just got picked to be pro artist.
Did you?
PMU circle as well. So that came out today. I've known for a little while, but it's only come out officially today.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they picked 13 for the year. from the country, well, from everyone, and one of those. So I'm excited. Because there's a PMU circle is a really massive thing in the PMU world. It's down to earth. It's run by Layla, and it's just literally. It's got really good Facebook forums, so it's really good for people who are wanting to be PMU artists, who want to keep their training going and things like that. So it's really, really good for that. And now I'm a pro artist, I can give a code, you see, so people can get to join. They can get 10% off for joining. So that's really good. So my students already had that anyway because I'd already had that for them. But yeah, so it's really nice. To build, it's just a bit of recognition, isn't it? Which is really nice.
It's so much different.
And it's for not just being a PMU artist, but it's for building your business as well. That's what it's all about. So it's not just being the artist, but actually building a business from it.
Business as well.
Yeah, to like, get from zero.
Yeah, definitely to work up
to working up. Really,
yeah, I love that. So what's next for you?
So next is definitely getting I want to get the academy, grow the academy this year. So I'm going to start doing the eyes and the lips. So if somebody's already trained in brows, then they're leaving money on the table, not doing eyes and lips. Because basically a lot of my clients, once you get that first influx of clients and you've got them, then they come back for eyeliner. They come back. You were saying at the beginning, they come back for eyeliner. They come back for lips. So if you can offer those, that's great. You're building that. You're bringing that client back and back and back to you, because then you've got the color boosts on those as well. Then on an annual basis. So yeah, basically the brows is going. So now I want to get selling the courses for the eyes and the lips, and developing artists to be able to do those as well. So like I say, if they've already done brows, don't just stop at that, because you are definitely leaving money on the table, because so many clients will scale up and get their eyes and their lips done as well. So it's a great one to do. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing that, and then we may well be. I have to decide. So we're growing. Just say that. Watch this space.
When camera's off, I'm going to... I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming. And next time I see you, we'll be in Marbella.
Yeah.
Nice and hot.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Yeah, it'll be really good.
Oh, thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
You're welcome.